Hey, it's Michael Shore for TYT Politics. This is the final seconds, the eerie silence in the press room. The debate, the first debate of the 2016 election between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, about to begin, and TYT is going to try and get you as close to the stuff that's happening here as possible. This is an expansive media, sorry, there's a guy from MIT who I just hit in the face, but this is an expansive media room right here. You have all of the TV booths where the TV people do their thing. Right there you see Britt Hume of Fox News getting ready. There's an entirely different media center on the other side where people in an overflow are there. And these are the Trump people coming through here. And, that's spokesperson for Donald Trump, Katrina Pearson. And those are the Trump people moving through. It happens all the time. And then
Clinton has a more popular agenda than Trump. There are things Trump has run on that are popular that Republicans didn't realize were, right? And like opposing TPP, it's tariffs actually are more popular than people thought. But he's kind of been urged into this agenda of supporting a giant tax cut, supporting the Ryan budget. She has, so the things she's grabbed from Bernie Sanders are popular. Like if you poll even the high estate tax increase that she's talking about, that's popular. Student loan plan that she came up with is popular, and you never hear about them. It's a real big deal that she would appoint certain OSHA regulators, EPA regulators, NLRB. That stuff, I feel like there are Sanders voters who, when they hear that, would say, oh, that's true. Like, are there president, but Elizabeth Warren has veto power over her nominees, whereas like Jeff Sessions has veto power over Trump.
I think the biggest challenge with somebody like Donald Trump is that he is unconventional. He says things that aren't true. There's a constant kind of fact-checking that has to go on.
I totally intend to jump on something and just write a quick post if it's false. We have the fact-checker back in D.C. doing that.
People don't trust Hillary Clinton, rightly or wrongly. That's the reality. She's not going to be able to turn that around in 90 minutes, and the polls are even. If Donald Trump can show that he's plausible, that he is reasonable, that he has temperament, and he can show leadership.
He needs to convince people who still think he's not qualified to be president that he's safe and steady for them.
I agree. She's got experience, but it's bad experience. And this country can't afford to have another 4 years.
Why won't he release his tax returns? And I think there may be a couple of reasons. Maybe he's not as rich as he says he is. Maybe he's not as charitable as he claims to be. He owes about $650 million to Wall Street and foreign banks. He didn't pay any federal income tax. So if he's paid zero, that means zero for troops, zero for vets, zero for schools.
She's telling us how to fight ISIS. Just go to her website. She tells you how to fight ISIS on her website. You're telling the enemy everything you want to do. No wonder you've been fighting. No wonder you've been fighting ISIS your entire adult life.
Been a Secretary of State, and I have
Your husband signed NAFTA, which was one of the worst things that ever happened to the manufacturing industry.
That is your opinion.
The birth certificate was produced in 2011. You continued to tell the story and question the president's legitimacy in 2012, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
We're talking about racial healing in this segment. What do you say to Americans?
Well, it was I say nothing. I say nothing because I was able to get him to produce it. He should have produced it a long time before. I say nothing.
Sorry, are we on? All right, hey, who knew we were on? It's Michael Shore here at Hofstra University, and right now the debate has just ended moments ago. We're in the media room, which is going to transform itself into the spin room. There's sort of an alley that's been created here. Donald Trump, I saw him debate in Cleveland last year and watched him debate every single Republican debate since then. To me, sitting in my seat tonight, it seemed like he was all kinds of crazy. He was all kinds of impulsive. He was far less prepared than Hillary Clinton. I've never seen a presidential candidate criticize the other candidate, as Donald Trump did today, for having a plan. She talked about a plan. He said, now you're telling your plan. That's what you do at a presidential debate when he was talking about how to treat ISIS. I've never seen somebody boast about not paying taxes, about not paying somebody who worked for him. That's what Donald Trump did tonight. And Kellyanne Conway behind him, largely credited with kind of corralling his message. Mr. Trump, can you tell us, they asked you a little bit, come on, quickly. Hillary Clinton asked you today about the money that was given by your father to you to start your businesses.
It was a much smaller number.
What was the number? All right, well, what we did that not everybody did was get a question, but
Smaller than 14 million.
Smaller than 14 million.
Trump definitely had a rough go of things when it came to the birther question, when it came to some of the other questions about the racial issues and whatnot. And he's going to have to do a lot more work moving into the next debate. There's no doubt about that. That's something.
Were you surprised at his lack of preparation at all? It's what seemingly. He's self-avowed.
On those two things, I think there was an outsized focus on those. I don't think that those are the main issues that people are concerned about across the country. So I do think he was very well prepared when it came to the issues of terrorism. Immigration, we saw him kind of push it in there a little bit throughout the course of the debate. And then also the TPP stuff.
And NAFTA.
I think, right, and NAFTA. And I thought it was unbelievable that Hillary Clinton wouldn't denounce NAFTA. She said, that's your opinion, that it's a bad deal. She stood by NAFTA.
I would rate Hillary Clinton probably a B-, C+, because she did have some moments to where she could have capitalized and talked a lot more about her policy, and sometimes she got in the mud with some of the petty comments going back and forth. They interrupted each other. But for Donald Trump, I would actually rate him a D. D-, almost F. And the reason being is that he really didn't talk about policy. He didn't really answer the questions. He diverted and deflected almost every question that was asked of him. And he engaged in too much of the petty things to where people didn't get to a clear sense of who he is and what he stands for.
Mr. Trump tonight, and I heard you, General Flynn, as well, sort of criticize Hillary Clinton for showing her plan on ISIS.
Posting it on a website.
But saying it as well in a debate, would you have criticized that as well?
I think. Well, they didn't really talk about it. In this case, Lester Holt probably could have dug into him a little bit more to be more specific. On Hillary Clinton's part, as she was explaining. I mean, actually, when you're explaining, I've always learned if you're explaining, you're wrong.